Today, from the home of the Liberty Bell and Major League Soccer's newest franchise, the Philadelphia Union, we welcome you to the 2010 MLS Superdraft. Inside the Pennsylvania Convention Center, the top young talents in American soccer have gathered to receive their marching orders, and fans are here to find out who will soon be representing their clubs. Wake Forest defender Ike Opara reminds many of a young Eddie Pope. Akron's Teal Bunbury was just voted the best player in the college game, but all signs are pointing to Philadelphia using their #1 overall pick on that young man. Danny Mwanga, the talented striker via the Republic of Congo and Oregon State University. And the Union reps have been very busy the last few hours as they've pulled off 2 trades and now own 3 of the first 7 picks in this draft. We bring you inside the ESPN studios here in Bristol, Connecticut. Rob Stone, joined by former national team stars John Harkes, Alexi Lawless. Glad you're here with our coverage of the entire first round of this year's MLS Superdraft. In any sport in America, your team is built by the draft. Whether you need stars or role players, you have to have a good draft, and all 16 MLS franchises. Take a look at the draft order, and Philadelphia Union, new to Major League Soccer, they get the #1 pick. Red Bulls sit there at #2. The Union also pick at 6 and 7. The Columbus Crew with 2 first-round picks, #8 and #12. And it concludes at #16 with your defending champs, Real Salt Lake. But we go back to #1, and that's the pick that everybody wants to talk about. And all signs right now are indicating it will be Danny Mwanga, the talented sophomore forward from Oregon State University. And John, why does Peter Novak, the first-year head coach of Philly, who has experience as a player and a manager in Major League Soccer, why does he pick this young man #1?
Well, I think, Rob, the first thing you always think about is some teams like to defend first and make sure they win championships that way. But Peter Novak, I think he has pretty good defenders. He picked up in the expansion draft. He also has Danny Califf that he came back from Europe now as a center back. So looking for a striker and partner with Alejandro Moreno, who came from Columbus Crew. Well, this guy has it all, really, in terms of Mwanga, strength, size, and he's a pure finisher in front of the goal. And I think that Peter Novak, the type of player that he's been over the years as well, even for the Polish national side, he likes to attack and score goals, and they know they need a goal scorer.
We start with #1 and continue our coverage of #1. Again, all signs pointing to Danny Mwanga, and Alan Hawkins joins us live from the 4 in Philadelphia. And what's the latest on that selection, Alan?
Well, Rob, what's the latest is that the supporters of the Philadelphia Union, the Sons of Ben, are doing the best to rival the New York Jets in the NFL draft. As much noise that they're making behind me. Great atmosphere here today in the 2010 MLS Super Draft. Very little intrigue with the #1 pick as Danny Mwanga is set to join the Philadelphia Union. Now, the story is that Peter Novak flew to the West Coast and had to pitch and woo Mwanga, who was considering leaving Oregon State early and going to Europe. But obviously, Novak did a good job of selling Mwanga, not only on the Union, but also in MLS. But the question, guys, back in the studio will be, can he make the transition as a forward? Something rookie forwards have struggled to do entering the league is scoring goals. And I know the Philadelphia Union is hoping that Mwanga can buck that trend. Rob?
Well, Mwanga's club coach a couple days ago took him to a Men's Warehouse to pick out a suit for today's draft. I guarantee you're going to like the way you look. All right, for the #1 overall pick, we go to the podium. Commissioner Don Garber.
New era of soccer in the Keystone State. With the first pick of the first round of the 2010 MLS Superdraft, the Philadelphia Union select from Oregon State University. Forward and a member of Generation Adidas, Danny Mwanga.
The Sons of Ben in playoff mode already in Philadelphia. There's Peter Novak, the head coach of Philadelphia Union. And Danny Mwanga, the #1 overall pick in the 2010 MLS Superdraft. Mwanga, a citizen of the Republic of Congo, has a U.S. refugee travel document, a U.S. green card, and a resident alien card. The Pac-10 Player of the Year, a second-team All-American, 6'2", 175, 14 goals, 2 assists this year, guys.
Yeah, it's not all about the goals. Yeah, we'll see the goals, and yes, he scored them. But when you talk to people about this player, and when you see this player, when he started drawing 1 and 2 and 3 players on him, which is going to happen when you're scoring a lot of goals, he had the wherewithal to recognize there's other people open and finding that open man and playing simply. And a lot of coaches, a lot of the technical directors like that about him. You couple that with great physical speed and an ability to score goals. He's got the package there.
Yeah, absolutely, and I agree, Lexi. I think that, to have a forward that can score goals but also bring other players into the game. He has good vision. He's able to pass the ball, Rob, and come out of really as a midfielder, too, coming forward. So he brings a lot to the table, but the transition, that's what we always talk about. Can these strikers really do it? And if really within MLS in the first couple of games, if they're not scoring goals and they're not doing well, how well will he get through that period? That's the mental capacity of a player and a striker.
Mwanga, just 18 years of age. Peter Novak telling us last night on the phone, guys, we think he can be our franchise player. Heady words for an 18-year-old. 6'2", 175. He's got a lot of it. And we mentioned he is a Generation Adidas draft pick. Alexi, fill us in on what that means and what benefits that has for the club.
Well, it doesn't count on your roster. And in a league that has a salary cap and you recognize you have to pick and choose where you're going to spend your money, these Generation Adidas players, every single draft become that much more valuable to teams because they don't count on your senior roster. Their money doesn't hit your salary cap, so they're very, very valuable. And they pick and choose very carefully who they make these Generation Adidas players. But as we've seen year after year, sometimes when all things are equal, if it's a Generation Adidas player, that's the one they take. And it's just good business.